It is that time. You know, technically you could say that and it could be any time.
Twice a day.
Twice a day. Broken clocks twice, at least right twice a day. Scott Tady, every Thursday, about 11:35. Scott Tady, the entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times, comes by and we get caught up on stuff, and it feels like we should be in the doldrums, but there's still stuff going on. I love how Western PA people say, we don't care if it's 7 degrees. We're gonna go do something.
Very good point. And why not? There's nothing on TV worth watching, so let's get out there. And there's a couple things on TV worth. Dude, I'm on this new show called Louder Milk on Netflix. Are you watching it yet? Louder Milk.
No.
It's Ron Livingston. Remember him from Office Space and Sex and the City. He plays a former Seattle music critic who now runs an Alcoholics Anonymous group. A bunch of dysfunctional people in the group. It's really dark comedy, funny. If you get a chance on Netflix, it just debuted January 2nd. I'm like 12, 13 episodes in already.
Do you ever wonder where somebody went when they show back up? You mentioned Ron Livingston. In Office Space, he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Okay? What was he in after Office Space that pops into your mind, and now all of a sudden he's back again?
And the show itself is that way. It was like a 2018 show on a streaming service that died. It was like AT&T tried a streaming service. DirecTV picked it up, and the satellite company DirecTV, when I understand, they didn't promote it very well. So the show just kind of floundered 2018 to 2020. Brought it back, and it's kind of doing well on Netflix. If you like dark comedy, they really play up the Seattle, former music journalists like you. There's a lot of references to really obscure bands, and
there's a Mother Love Bone montage flying by.
Yes, Screaming Trees, all that kind of stuff.
Talk about streaming for a second, because I just saw this morning. At least one of the football playoff games, Miami, one of them.
Kansas City. No, you're not going to see Taylor Swift unless you're watching Peacock.
I'm not going to see Taylor Swift if it means I have to hit myself in the head with a shovel. That's a different story. If you want to watch that ball game, you have to subscribe to a streaming service.
We knew it was coming, and it was very strategic. The one game they picked, the Saturday night game. We mentioned Taylor. Kansas City has a lot of interest. People hate them. People love them. Miami. So, what I'm telling people, if you download or if you subscribe, you're supporting this. This is something I hope people don't do it. I hope it falls flat. I hope they don't get the numbers they expect of new subscribers, because if they do, what's going to stop this from happening much more often?
Do you think people would actually back up? Because you and I, and we've talked about this, we both on Saturday mornings sit and scream at our televisions and text each other back and forth about English soccer.
True.
There's 1 or 2 games that are on a network. A whole lot of times that big game between the city and the U, you've got to go to their subscription service. Are you on their subscription service? Don't give them a plug by saying it.
I was for a year, and I canceled because it wasn't worth the $5.99 a month, to be honest. I didn't think so. A couple games a year, but then it got to be the principal thing. Why should I have to pay for this to watch sports? You're supporting the devil if you do that, and I'm just. But what do you do if you're a guy who grew up in Kansas City, or you grew up in Missouri, and that was your team? Now you're an expat. You live in Florida. You live anywhere, California. You're not going to be able to watch the game. I could see that some of those people being tempted and thinking maybe I can cancel it after I watch this game or something. But I'm sure there's a lot of fine print on that.
Well, but tell people what you know. A lot of people sign up for a subscription service and never remember it again.
True.
And at $5.99 a month, I'm cheap. I'm going to notice $5.99 disappearing. If you subscribe to 6 or 8 things, it's so bad now, Scott. There are apps that go and hunt down what you've been paying for that you haven't remembered for you. Is that the way media is going to end up? It's kind of that way when you're talking about subscription audio services.
Yeah, I'm even wondering now. I have HBO, and how often do I watch it? Netflix, you almost have to have, because the sheer volume of shows they have. And
can you write it? Can you write off your bill? Because you got to go. You got to see this stuff.
I like your idea. I should try that. Yeah. But Netflix, at least there's movies or there's original programming, a lot of bingeable stuff. And this time of year, like I mentioned, I'm binging this show. There's nothing else to do, during the day. But I don't know. HBO, is it worth it? They haven't had a show in a while like a Sopranos, like a 6 Feet Under. I know people love Succession, but it just doesn't appeal to me. And Is it worth the whatever? I don't know what it is anymore. $16 a month, and tough call.
I want to ask you a technical question because I saw it, and this is way more your avenue than mine. Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times is with me. I saw a story that says the only way that AI can be profitable is if it gets its information from copyrighted sources and ignores the copyright.
Yike.
Your thoughts?
I like what the Tennessee governor did. They tried to pass some law, at least they championed some kind of law to cut down on AI use of musicians. I don't know how much teeth that law has, if it'll get passed, and how it can stop that from happening, but at least some people are reacting to it. I don't know. It worries me. The copyright thing, we've had cases, our newspaper, some of our stories have reappeared on sites, and we're not getting credit for it, and they have the power to do whatever they want. They can change the words. They could tweak what we actually wrote, but it still looks like we wrote it. How can that be legal? How can that be fair?
These are rules that have never needed to be sorted out, and in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be sorted out. I think
it all started when they had the vacuum commercial with Gene Kelly dancing with the vacuum. Remember that?
No.
I trace it directly back to that. And
that seems to have stuck with you.
Yes.
Oh, he's dancing around the vacuuming or something?
Yeah, they took a 1940s movie clip and they had him, selling a whatever it was, a Hoover or something like that, and people didn't protest nearly as much as they should have, and I don't know.
Do you think people really understand the process of where their entertainment is coming from and all of the different ways that, forgive me for saying it, that they're scraping off a nickel and a dime here?
No, I worry about that. You see what people share on social media, and it's some sketchy website that has very little credibility, but the big bold headline makes it seem real, so it's got to be real, right?
Yeah, even though the VPN's from Belarus. Yeah, go ahead and click on it.
I mean, we used to laugh, the National Enquirer and the Star Magazine when you're standing in line at the grocery store, but it was always about Elvis and UFO babies or whatever. It wasn't,
Bad boy.
pretending to talk about real political things that have consequence, and that's what some of these websites do.
Has that changed things for you? Do you write differently because you know it's being ingested differently because of technology?
I write headlines differently. We used to try to give as much information as you could in the headline. Now it's the exact opposite. You got to kind of tease people. New restaurant comes to Beaver County. 20 years ago, we would have said Merchant Street restaurant opens, and we would have been more specific. But now it's so dependent on getting, and every paper does this, and I'm sure you guys probably do too. You can't give away too much in the headline because you need someone to click on it to read it. They're counting clicks.
And adding to that, when you read about a paragraph and a half and it says click here for more,
yeah.
Do you think people recognize that's finance? They could put it up there just as easily on one page. That's finance. Is it ignorance by the general public, or is it laissez-faire? I don't care. They can have the extra click. I'll look at the ad. I want to read it.
A good question. Or is the ignorance in that we tried the business model of giving the product away for free. Guess what? It didn't work.
Give it away.
And everyone kind of thinks, well, but why don't you just give it away? Why? Well, because we have to pay employees to continue doing this. And, back in the day, people would buy a newspaper. Back in the day, it's just different now.
Back in the day, there was a newspaper on a corner to buy.
Right. So I don't know what the answer is there.
Do you enjoy your job now more than you did then? Or was that the wonderful, naive time, and now it's the grim, the milestones of clicks and death?
The writing itself, I still enjoy, and I gotta be the flip side of it. The social media does do one good thing for me. It's bringing me an audience I didn't have before. I get fan mail from New Jersey and Philadelphia when our sister papers run our stories online. People read me in Pittsburgh that wouldn't have been able to get the Beaver County Times at their local Sunoco or whatever like that. So. There's that side of it. I think I have a bigger audience in some ways, but I don't like what we mentioned, the clicks, where I have to check the numbers. Oh, how did this article do? Oh, it didn't do well. I need to go on Facebook. I need to write some big bold headline with exclamation points, and maybe then people will click on it. I hate that part of it. That's not fun at all.
Are you able to benefit on the monetization of stories going further places? That person in Jersey that read your story and loves that story, is that in any way possible? Get enough Jersey people? Is that going to show up on your paycheck?
No, now that you mention it. There was a time where when Associated Press would run our stories, they would kick back money to the newsroom, and end of the year we might throw a big Christmas party and celebrate. Right. I didn't personally see more money in my bank account, but newsroom got money.
Slush fund.
We made it work. I don't even think that happens anymore. Now you got me depressed.
Well, welcome to the
I like
program.
your jacket, that 20th anniversary, what is that, Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. Wow.
It's a shirt. It's a zip-up.
Or is it a shacket? That's a new thing now. Shackets.
What?
Shirts and jackets.
Quit making up new words. I'll make you a
QVC.
deal.
They're selling shackets right now.
Say that like it's going to impress me. I'll make a deal. You're a wordsmith. I'll make you a deal. You tell me if this is a good deal. When the general public, Dave Wakeling, Ranking Roger, when the general consumer public knows all the words they see now, then we can start making up new words.
Oh, fair.
Okay. What do you call it? A shacket?
I don't call it that, but you'll see that on your local retailer. I
am repping the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School 20th anniversary shacket.
It's a nice logo.
Look at the brand name.
Ooh, North Face. Am I allowed to plug them on one of your sister stations this weekend?
At this point, sure. You've already called out my jacket. You know why I got this, right?
You gave a great speech.
Oh, Lord, no. You know me better than that. That's where my ex-wife has worked for a long time.
Oh, cool.
And this was a Christmas present, and she's like, it doesn't fit. It's like, right on, man. Second, I got this.
Free.
I got a vest. Yeah.
Can't beat free. Your sister station, the Rock Station in Butler. I'm the guest this Sunday.
Are you really?
Yeah, with Bob in Utah and playing local music.
Watch Bob. Bob gets handsy.
We're playing some Beaver County bands, including Gloomer, a 90s sounding band, and then Charles Wesley Godwin. I keep talking about him and his backing band, the Allegheny High, 5 Beaver County guys. He was on Joe Rogan, probably the biggest podcast in America, or one of the two biggest. Mm-hmm. The singer of this band backed by Beaver County guys yesterday. So that just goes to show they're getting out there.
When are you doing that?
This Sunday, playing local music.
The Sunday night local that they do.
Yeah.
No, I love those guys. 97.7 Rock on the Rock when they carry Slippery Rock football.
In fact, we taped it already. We mentioned you. They were
You
delighted.
mentioned me.
You walked in and you said Robin Trower. You heard him playing Robin Trower on the radio. And
I walked in where?
To the Butler radio station one day, and you told them you were glad they were playing the great guitarist Robin Trower.
And I don't even think it was Bridge of Sighs. I think they went with something deeper. So I get mentioned on a show okay.
But it's your sister station.
No, that's fine. I want to know where, just like streaming, where's my cut?
Fair.
And you know what the standard is when you do something for another radio station. You know what you bill them, right?
Oh, I like that.
T-shirt. That's what you bill them.
Or shacket.
Or a shacket. I got to look up that word and make sure it's not dirty.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Listen to 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA this Friday morning in the 9 a.m. hour with guest attorneys Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George. Attorneys LGKG specialize in auto accidents, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, motorcycle accident cases, and premises liability. The attorneys Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George will be available to answer your questions during the 9 a.m. hour this Friday on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Start your day with a visit to your local McDonald's for breakfast and enjoy their 2 for $3 mix and match breakfast special. Sausage, biscuit, or McMuffin, breakfast burrito or hash brown, or try their 2 for $5 sausage McMuffin with egg. Top it off with a small coffee for only $1. And don't forget to download the McDonald's restaurant app and get exclusive deals, coupons, and rewards. Only for those with the app and only at your local McDonald's. I'm loving it.
It's always the right time to shop the Hopewell Shopping Center, no matter what the season, no matter what the reason. It's truly your neighborhood shopping place with such a large variety of businesses that offer food, shopping, fine dining and quick serving restaurants, personal services, and recreation. The Hopewell Shopping Center will be your one stop for everything you need whenever you need it. Just click on beavercountyradio.com, the Hopewell Shopping Center merchant directory, for a complete look of merchants today, and get shopping at your neighborhood shopping place, the Hopewell Shopping Center.
It is Teleforum. It is Thursday. I look forward to Thursdays because I like to get caught up with Scott, and Scott comes in. Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times comes in and tells me about other radio stations that are talking crap about me, and that's good to know.
I have a feisty review online now. I panned
Feisty?
the Broadway musical The Girl from the North Country is playing at the Benham Center, and it's based on the Bob Dylan songbook. There are 20 Bob Dylan songs in it. A couple deep cuts.
So somebody tried to write a play based on a bunch of Dylan songs.
Set in 1934 Duluth, Minnesota, and it's really a bizarre thing. The characters will they'll break character is what I'm trying to say. One of the characters can barely talk. He has kind of a mental issue, and suddenly he'll come out in a white suit and he'll be singing a Dylan song like he's Frank Sinatra, and it's very artsy, but just bleak. Like all the characters, I don't mind.
Is there a payoff at the end where the bleak goes away?
No, that's the thing. I don't mind. I'm not expecting rainbows and butterflies, but I need to at least see characters that are trying to better themselves. If I'm in a theater for 2.5 hours, I want to be inspired. I want to see some facing on adversity, but it was just a real down kind of thing. And I'm curious what other people think. If you see The Girl from the North Country playing through Sunday at the Benham Center, let me know. My review explains why I thought it could have been better.
Well, you yelled at me earlier. I depressed you. Now you depressed me. Who's going to take Dylan songs and say, we can patchwork these together into a play?
Yeah. They have a backstory of a boxer, and they do a bit of the Hurricane.
Like the Hurricane.
But they only do like 2 verses of it, and they cut it off right there. And that's a song. If you're going to do it, you got to do it. That's just an epic song. You can't just take an excerpt from it.
No. What's the Thanksgiving song? Alice's Restaurant.
Yeah, Arlo Guthrie.
You can't play the first verse of Alice's Restaurant and be done with it.
Truth.
What musician should have their music gathered up and put into play form?
Ooh,
Dylan seems a whole lot of moving parts from a whole lot of different directions to make that cohesive at the end.
There's something fun and silly like the B-52s or, something.
Well, you got some death in there. That can be the dark moment in the middle.
Or how about the Beastie Boys, the musical? Got
a guy's dead there.
Yeah, well.
So I guess we should start with a band that not everybody's dead.
Tough to find.
The Police.
There you go. Well, those egos, though. Those three to sign off on it.
You're going to end up hating all 3 of them by the end of it.
Yes. Did you see Sting is touring with Stevie Nicks and Billy Joel? What do the 3 of those have in common?
A need for more money.
Oh, good answer.
Sting, he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. And I'm old enough to remember when he was with the Police and every question before a concert was, so when's your singer going to leave you? Yeah. But Stevie Nicks... No. And Billy Joel,
He still got it live. He still brings it live, though.
The Stranger and Glass Houses.
Yes.
I grew up on those records. Okay?
Awesome album, yes.
And the fact that he's still alive after however many cars he's put up against trees, you appreciate it.
You do.
Yeah. What should I have asked you? I didn't ask you. You got a story this week.
Yeah, my column's coming up. I write about some cool shows at Harkins Mill Winery in Ambridge at the Big Swickley Creek Brewing. They're doing a fish tribute band. They found 5 Pittsburgh musicians to become fish. Eddie, they're doing an outdoor show in February calling it Ice Fishin'.
Yeah,
it's right along the creek.
That's a good T-shirt.
Yeah. And then I read about Jordan McLaughlin, a Hopewell Township singer-songwriter, has a really good song out now. Actually it comes out next week. But it's very... It's got the blue-collar Mellencamp kind of thing, but he's got some really good lyrics, and it's very relatable. Jordan McLaughlin from Hopewell, I recommend checking him out. He recorded at the Music Garden Studio, which is where Donnie Iris did Alia, back when it was called Jerry Records, and he got Al Torrance of Charles Wesley Godwin's band. So it sounds good lyrics. Check out this guy, Jordan McLaughlin of Hopewell Township.
Check out this guy, Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just picturing somebody trying to write a Stevie Nicks song where it didn't sound like a goat, and I am completely stumped.
95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and Beaver